have a politically correct military, and it's getting more and more politically correct every day. And a lot of the great people in this room don't even understand how it's possible to do that, because some of the things that they're asking you to do and be politically correct about are ridiculous. I will say, I would leave many of the decisions of some of the things you mentioned to the generals, the admirals, the people on top.
Donald Trump earlier today at a town hall for veterans in Virginia, reacting to a question about political correctness in the military. You heard him say, as commander-in-chief, he would leave common sense decisions to the generals and the admirals at top. As we continue now on Newsmax Prime, Donald Trump is always entertaining when he's on the stump, and he did not disappoint when speaking in front of a crowd Saturday night in Mannheim, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, of course, considered a vital swing state. One topic that he talked about, his microphone at last week's debate. You'll recall on the campaign trail he said something sounded wrong. The debate commission eventually agreed with him, and he talked about it Saturday night.
It just came out a little while ago that the microphone in the auditorium, the big room, was defective. And it was difficult. And you know, when you have a situation like that, and you know it's bad, and you think you have 100 million people watching, what do? Stop the show? Please fix it. It was bad. I wonder why it was bad. Think of that. I wonder why it was bad. It was so bad.
I'll tell you why, Donald. They were trying to get inside your head. I had a similar situation in my last campaign, the night of a debate where my chair was moved in the lighting. The next day I went back for a network news interview, and the floor manager said, "Boy, I don't know why that person on your staff wanted your chair moved. They moved you right out of the light." Turned out it was a staffer from the other campaign. Short-term advice, Mr. Trump, you pay people well. Make sure your sound people are in, checking the microphones every hour on the hour, including 2 minutes before the start of your next debate with Hillary. From those microphone issues to Hillary's health, take a listen to the way Trump characterized her health during Saturday night's rally.
She has been a disaster. But here's a woman. She's supposed to fight all of these different things, and she can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah, it is a Trump crowd, but the thing that Donald Trump is able to do is to say what so many other people are thinking, and indelibly etched in our minds is that image of Hillary leaving the 9/11 memorial early and basically falling into the van and all the attendant speculation about her health. Now, when you're running against someone, you're really running against someone, and Trump took it another step further on Saturday night, beyond the health question to a question of loyalty and fidelity on the part of Mrs. Clinton. Listen to this.
Hillary Clinton's only loyalty is to her financial contributors and to herself. I don't even think she's loyal to Bill. You want to know the truth. And really, folks, really, why should she be, right? Why should she be?
Sometimes listening to Mr. Trump at a rally is almost like, how can I put this politely? Well, let me just lay it out for you. Remember Don Rickles in his prime as an insult comic, offering incidental insight in humorous, albeit unvarnished fashion about the target of his humor. Well, there is Donald Trump again with a couple of throwaway lines, and I must confess to you, I am not certain just how well that will work with some women who may not have decided for whom they will vote. There could be a backlash, but then again, so many loyal Trump supporters say, let Trump be Trump. And he most certainly was in Mannheim, Pennsylvania, Saturday night. Now, also in the news over the weekend, that latest recording that was leaked with Mrs. Clinton discussing millennials, and for all intents and purposes, according to Mr. Trump, insulting Bernie Sanders supporters. Here's the take of the GOP nominee.
She's on the opposite side of Bernie on the trade issue. She's totally on the opposite side of Bernie. A new audio tape that has surfaced just yesterday from another one of Hillary's high roller fundraisers shows her demeaning and mocking Bernie Sanders and all of his supporters. They're coming over to our side. You watch. You watch. Especially after Hillary mocks him and mocks all of those people by attacking him and his supporters as living in their parents' basements and trapped in dead-end careers. That's not what they are.
So there is Donald Trump with a slice of demographic flattery for millennials, challenging Hillary Clinton's description, and also trying to invite those Bernie Sanders supporters to join his campaign. Now, of course, earlier in this program, we heard from pollster John Zogby. He was a bit skeptical that the ex-Bernie supporters might fall in or catch a ride on the Trump train, so to speak, but he thought it might redound to the benefit of the third-party candidates, Libertarian Gary Johnson or Green Party nominee Janet Stein. We will see what happens there, but suffice to say, Trump is a salesman, and he's trying to work it out in terms of bringing along those millennials. We've talked a lot lately about the threat of Election Day cyber hacks, and Mr. Trump talked about that issue as well. Look at this.
And you got to watch your polling booths, because I hear too many stories about Pennsylvania, certain areas. I hear too many bad stories, and we can't lose an election because of you know what I'm talking about. So go and vote, and then go check out areas, because a lot of bad things happen, and we don't want to lose for that reason. We don't want to lose, but we don't want to lose for that reason. So go over and watch carefully.
Now, you're watching very carefully, and you're asking, JD, why did you misidentify the Green Party nominee? It's Dr. Jill Stein. My apologies to the Green Party candidate. Now, what Mr. Trump was asking for there, people to watch very closely in the polls, that is because Pennsylvania, in addition to being a crucial state, there have been more than passing curiosities in recent elections. Think back to, I believe, 2008, when the new Black Panthers Party in certain areas of Philadelphia showed up with the motivation, at least through the perception of many, that they were there to intimidate elderly white voters. And you go from that situation in 2008 to what we saw in 2012 in inner city Philadelphia, where some inner city precincts recorded absolutely no votes for Mitt Romney. And while you would expect Mr. Obama to win overwhelmingly, certainly in some of those inner city precincts, just statistically, there might have been one or two outliers, one or two people who took issue. None of it was there. So Trump is enlisting the help of Pennsylvanians wherever they may be, not just in Philadelphia, but statewide, to watch closely at the polls. And it's very interesting to read some of the coverage, most notably in Politico, where, in the fashion that they are so wont to do, that leftist newspaper tries to somehow blame Mr. Trump for calling people to take a close look at what could very well be irregularities at the polls. Speaking of the African American community, and it is worth noting that Mr. Trump has seen his numbers improve among that voting group, the GOP nominee decided to remind voters in Mannheim that Mrs. Clinton is no friend to African Americans. Watch this.
Hillary Clinton has been a disaster for so many communities, but especially for the African American communities. I don't think African Americans are going to come out and vote for Clinton. They're too smart, and they know they are being used. They're tired of it. They also know from tremendous past experience that she'll do nothing for them once the election is over. She never does, and that will never change.
Donald Trump making an interesting pre-election indictment of Hillary Clinton, saying she's been there for so long. Why haven't things improved in the black community? All in all, a performance in Mannheim, Pennsylvania that is certainly entertaining to watch. On deck, YouTube sensations and Trump supporters Diamond and Silk have a lot to say about what's been happening. We will hear what they have to say and have more for you as Newsmax Prime continues.